Alright, it's been a while since we've talked about a Gulliver's Travels adaptation now, isn't it? Um, because I mean, the other two versions I've covered were some of the first animated movies ever made, so yeah, it's been quite a few decades since we got any any Gulliver adaptation that you know has any kind of animation involved. But anyway, or at least for full length movies. So yeah, this is a British Belgian movie. It's yeah, it's another one of those movies that mixes live action with animation. So yeah, once again we got Gulliver himself, who's live action, and it shows, it shows him in England at the beginning, and everybody's in live action, obviously, and then we see the boat, get shipwrecked, or yeah, we see the shipwreck, and then we see Gulliver washed up on Lilliput as usual. And yeah, the Lilliputians. I guess that's how you're supposed to pronounce it. I'm not well versed with Gulliver's Travels in general. I mean, I kind of gave hints of that in my review of the Fleischer movie. I don't know how to pronounce certain names or whatever, like. I pronounced Gulliver's first name Lamewell when it's supposed to be pronounced Lemuel, etc. But anyway, yeah, so the Lilliputians are animated, and yeah. So, also, Gulliver is played by Richard Harris, who you might know as the original Dumbledore before he died, and what's his name, Michael Gambon took over, and he also did that rockin' song MacArthur Park. Yeah, I think I covered that once in an April Fool's video. Anyway, I don't know a whole lot else about the guy. I haven't seen most of the movies he's known for, but he's Dumbledore. He's got a great, soothing, soft voice, and I guess that's why he was perfect as Dumbledore, or it's why he was their ideal pick for Dumbledore at first. But they didn't take into account how old he was, and maybe he was a little older than Dumbledore should be, or at least should look. But yeah. But yeah, I do like his casting in this movie. We see him interacting with the Lilliputians, and he's a giant. So, or compared to them, so naturally, if he talks too loud, he'll probably make a hurricane or something. So yeah, I think it only makes sense that Gulliver would have to speak quietly, and Richard Harris is great at that. He's, yeah, like I said, very soothing voice. I do love his voice. That might also be why they found him the ideal pick for the MacArthur Park song. So yeah, let's see. So in terms of story, I mean, it's not a whole lot we haven't seen. I mean, once again, they're at war with Blefuscu. I think it is spelled a little differently than it was in the Fleischer movie, but I guess that's how it was originally spelled, Blefuscu or something. Blefuscu, whatever. Okay, so at first we have this corrupt general and this equally corrupt admiral, and they're they're plotting to kill Gulliver. They do make some compelling arguments at first for why Gulliver shouldn't be there, because, he's kind of a threat to their economy, basically. So yeah, that it actually does kind of make sense, although, you can't really get behind them wanting to kill him, but, but yeah, Gulliver's a perfectly nice guy. He's very good about not smashing anything or anybody. So, yeah, you gotta give him props for that. And, yeah, but as the film goes on, the general and admiral, they get, more and more corrupt, and, the Emperor's not perfect either, because he's pretty intent on going to war with Lefuscu. Yeah, the other island, and apparently what shot off this, conflict has to do with eggs. Or I guess everybody lived together in Lilliput at first, but, soon they split into, another kingdom. But yeah, it had something to do with eggs. Some silly thing with eggs. And there does seem to be some egg-related imagery in this. There's this, I forget what his position was. He's some kind of, he's got a high rank in the Senate or whatever, and he helps Gulliver along in the movie. But yeah, he kind of, he does a lot of the, what's the word? I had the word earlier, but, I tend to, anyway, yeah, he settles it by, speaking to the, the higher-ups, I guess, and, through persuasion. And yeah, that's kind of a noble trait. I do kind of like that aspect of the movie, although it does kind of lead to an anti-climax at the end. Let's see. Well, as I was saying about the egg imagery, there's he wears a robe, and there seems to be an egg shape on the chest of the robe. And then also, you see a map of the two islands, and it looks like a cracked egg, an egg that's been cracked in half. So yeah, kind of interesting. But yeah, not much to it other than that. Let's see. So, yeah, the general and admiral, they plot to overthrow the king by the end by, poisoning him. And then they also want to kill Gulliver because, they just don't like him. So yeah, not too much to the... Well, there's not much to the story in general, but, I don't know, there's some interesting directions they go in. There's some interesting political moments, but, there's probably a little too much political stuff in this. It's kind of like watching Star Wars Attack of the Clones. You want to see more action and less of the political stuff. But, yeah, let's see. But yeah, again, Gulliver is a likable, heroic, noble character. He tries to settle the war between Lilliput and Blefuscu. So yeah, the ending is kind of, a little different. You probably would have expected him to say goodbye to the Lilliputians at the end, but he doesn't. He says goodbye to the other island. And then suddenly gets captured by a giant who's obviously from that, the next island that Gulliver's supposed to go to in the book, which is, filled with giants. And yeah, that's supposed to be his next adventure, because Lilliput's only the first of 4 stops in the original book. But yeah, these adaptations keep just doing Lilliput and maybe just a brief visit to the giant island. Yeah, I guess that's one thing to give to that horrible Jack Black movie. He does briefly visit the island of giants and stuff. I mean, he only encounters one giant, but you know what I mean. Let's see. Yeah, it does seem to be like a cliffhanger at the end. Maybe they were planning to do sequels where he goes to the other islands from the book. But yeah, as it is, yeah. So there were elements of this movie I kind of liked, some of the characters, and let's see, aspects of the conflict, but the animation is pretty simple. It's definitely nothing amazing. I was expecting it to look better than what we ended up getting. Let's see, it wasn't bad by any means, but yeah. Let's see, they do mix live action with animation okay. I do kind of like how, the set of Lilliput is like this little model, like a clay model or something, and it's kind of cool seeing Gulliver walking around in it while interacting with these cartoon characters. So yeah, it looks like only the Lilliputians are animated in this movie. Let's see. I kind of like the songs. I mean, the main theme song isn't half bad, although they do play it a little more than they need to. There's a pretty cleverly written song about Gulliver singing about how small everything is, and maybe a little exaggerated, but still, it's a fun little song. I mean, Richard Harris doesn't have the best singing voice ever, but there is a lot of God, I keep forgetting what the word is. Charisma. And yeah, again, that's probably a major reason why he sang MacArthur Park. Let's see. And then there's also this pretty funny and entertaining song about politics. And it's kind of a satirical song about how politicians are selected and everything. And yeah, it's a pretty fun scene. I might consider it my favorite scene in the movie. But yeah, there's also some issues, mainly with the storytelling. It's a little all over the place. I don't know, it's a little clumsy. So yeah, is there much else to criticize? I mean, yeah, the ending doesn't feel very rewarding. Maybe if they made a sequel to this, but they didn't, it probably didn't make very good money anyway. So yeah, needless to say, there are aspects I like about this movie and aspects that I don't like. So, as it is, I think I will give this movie a 6 out of 10. It is a lower rating than I gave to New Gulliver from the 30s, the Russian one. But I respect that movie a little more for what it pulled off from a technical standpoint. But yeah, I probably will still say that I might prefer watching this movie again over that one. Watching Richard Harris version over Russian version. You know what I mean. But yeah, that's just my subjective opinion. But I feel like objectively, the Russian one has more to offer, even though I do have some issues with it, and in hindsight, I might like it a little less because the whole yay communism message in that one is even more obnoxious after I've watched so many Russian movies with that same message. So yeah, I'm not saying that one's perfect by any means, but yeah, I think overall it has more to offer than this one does. But, this one's still wouldn't hurt to watch. So, if you're interested, feel free to check it out. But yeah, don't expect it to be the best adaptation of the story. Yeah. You may or may not like it. I guess that's up for you to decide. But I think at the very least it's miles and miles better than the Jack Black movie. I mean, I'm sorry. I've gone on and on about how much I despise that movie, but yeah, it just bears repeating is all. So yeah, as usual, if there's anything else I feel that I need to add, I'll put it in the comments. So yeah, this movie was alright. It was enjoyable enough, but yeah, it had some issues with it. So yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that for now. Mash it and smash it, signing off.